Well, call me Ishmael. This movie's pretty good. Mark my words. The name Mamoru Hisoda is going to be as big as the name Hayao Miyazaki in the next 10 years. Guaranteed. This guy shows a lot of promise. This is one of his first movies, and it's magic. Of course, there's a bias here because one of my favorite genres is adventure and fantasy. Adventure fantasy type genres, Hunter x Hunter, One Piece, all that jazz. And this is no exception. You have a new world being introduced in the form of Jotengai. And I really like this. The animes that have world building, the manga that have world building. This is my stuff. I'm the type of guy that likes to read about fictional animal species. That should give you a sense of what type of person I am. I like this deep stuff. I like delving into a world I've never been in and definitely will never be in because it's fictional. I'm that type of person, and this fulfills it. This is some pretty good stuff. Joe Tengai, a fictional culture that really does resonate with. Sorry, really is similar to medieval Japan, but not really. Has elements of medieval Japanese culture, but at the same time it doesn't because it's different. Um, the unique things in there that are mixed with ancient Japanese culture, like the swords should never be unsheathed, or the fact that you see a lot of prevalent. How should I say this? Like, it kind of seems like it's less formal than traditional Japanese culture, and the concept of respect isn't as strong, so to speak. And at the same time, it isn't as war driven as medieval Japanese culture was. Conquering different territories, whatnot. So I think this culture, the culture in Jotengai, is a kind of like a dream of imagine if this is what medieval Japanese culture looked like. It's like the dream culture that people wanted instead of what was actually there. So I think this is something that people. I'm maybe thinking about this too much, but that's kind of the vibe I got from Joe Tengai. But to each their own. I really like the visual design of it, the bazaar, the markets, the people, the character, the individual character designs. Don't even get me started on that. I could make an entire video on this. Just the individual character design. As I said, the culture, the individual beast designs. Yeah, and the buildings. Oh my god, the buildings are pretty interesting too. The alleyways. And this is the thing. The setting itself does not look like medieval Japan, because the buildings are made out of stone, and it's like this white marble-ish stone. Kind of reminds me of some places in the Mediterranean, like right on the beach. Like, kind of reminds me of Greece. Kind of reminds me of, or maybe no. I'm just thinking of Kumatetsu's building, but some of the buildings remind me of like some Mediterranean like cities, and some of the streets of Jotengai remind me of some Mediterranean cities. So yeah, the visual aesthetic design is pretty impressive. Now, how should I say this? The Before I get into this, actually, let me talk about the voice actors because bunch of hotshots, bunch of hotshots were involved in this, and it's not just the voice acting that's impressive. Animation, 10 out of 10. The music, 9.5 out of 10. Actually, no, 9 out of 10. But still impressive. Now, okay, the voice actors. You have for the sub and the dubbed. Let's start with the subbed. Young Kyota is played by Hana. Sorry, the same actress that plays Kyota plays Hana in Wolf Children. You have Ichirihiko played by Mamoru Miyano, who very renowned voice actor. He's the guy that played Light Yagami in Death Note. So yeah, that's something you guys. Oh, by the way, Wolf Children is actually directed by the same director. Okay, you have Kyoto himself, played by Sonatani, who is the lead role in the live-action movie Parasite, which, and from what I heard, was pretty good, a pretty big hit. Um, okay, so the dubbed, you have Ian Sinclair playing Tartora, which is the monkey. You have young Kota playing being played by Lucy Christian, who plays Nami. You have Morgan Berry, who played Ichirohiko. By the way, same actress plays 13. Amazing voice. She could manipulate it in so many weird ways. You wouldn't even be able to tell that it's the same voice actor just by hearing both characters. And this is like this is the most interesting one. Kumetetsu in the dub, displayed by John Swasey, who oddly enough plays one of the best anime dads probably ever, Von Hohenheim. And don't even get me started on Von Hohenheim. The tears are gonna come and it's gonna be messy. So, in terms of voice actors, a lot of hot shots are in this, so it's big. Now, the message. What is the message? What is the thesis of this movie? What does this all conclude to? I think what this all concludes to is, simply put, life is hard. And we all have parts of ourselves that we're not proud of. But it's about controlling ourselves. And it's only through that we truly become strong. I think this is the thesis of this book. This book. Sorry, I just okay. Call Me Ishmael. This is a pretty good movie. Same message with similar message with Moby Dick, where the biggest enemy is yourself. You are your own biggest enemy, and it's kind of the symbolism of the whale and the focus of the whale, and how the main protagonist was so focused on the whale that he kind of lost sight of the rest of his life and wasted his goddamn life. He just straight up wasted his goddamn life over a whale, and the whale is kind of it's a symbol of him not being able to let go, thus being swallowed by himself. And that's the same message over here in this movie. If you're not able to control yourself, you're going to be swallowed by your own anger, and you're going to waste away. You're going to waste away. Same thing in Moby Dick, and that's why Moby Dick is referenced here a lot, blatantly, a lot. Like, too much. Like, why? I mean, I get it if it's mentioned like 2 or 3 times, but I think it was mentioned like 5 or 6 times. I'm like, wait, really? Moby that much? Okay, to each their own. Honestly, I think it was kind of a heavy-handed, like, look at Moby Dick, like, it's it's kind of like this movie was had like an advertisement with the author of Moby Dick, which is impossible because he's dead. It's kind of like this movie was advertising Moby Dick, which it wasn't. Obviously, the director is obviously infatuated with the book. And as soon as I get to reading this book, I will understand why. Oh, I got spoiled. That's why I'm not reading that book. Now, other stuff. You have little references to mental disabilities that have to do with trauma and loss. And what I'm talking about here is like delusions and bad dreams, PTSD. And PTSD is strong with this one, especially Kyoto as a kid. Just the dreams, those are symptoms of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So, yeah, you have that whole message of, stay strong, it's going to get better. It's not the end of the world. You need to stay calm. It's very powerful seeing this whole thing happen. And speaking of Kyoto, Mamoru Hisoda took a play out of the Kishimoto playbook. Masashi Kishimoto ought to be proud of Maru Hisoda. This guy, okay, so in case you guys don't know who Kishimoto is, Kishimoto is a master at hooking an audience. He is the creator of Naruto, and we have seen in two very prominent examples him hooking in the audience. And and I mean this in all sense of the word. It's almost like Mamoru Hisoda was watching Naruto and took notes as to, okay, so this is how he hooks in the audience, because it's the same exact hook. It's a traumatized child that is alone and lonely and just wants more people to be around him. Honestly, that's almost like the ultimate hook, because you can't not be captivated by this kid. You can't just look away. You want to know, you want to see this kid get better. You want to see this kid around people. That in and of itself acts as the hook. And it's the ultimate hook in my perspective. It's the ultimate card to play. Now, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, okay. So the ending. Jeez Louise, the ending. I have no problem with the ending, but honestly, I think in one sense, if you were gonna take like the card of, there are stakes in this series, then Ichi Hakimaru should have Ichihiroko. Can't pronounce. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not Japanese. I can't pronounce that name, but I think he should have died at the very end. If you want to play the card of stakes. If you don't, and you want to keep it a bit more family friendly, then make him visit. Make him visit his friends in. Make him visit his friends in furry heaven. I mean, Jotengai. Make him visit his friends in Jotengai for a bit, Because I really like the place, and kind of is depressing because he still has some friends in Jotengai. Oizen's kids, and also the monkey and the pig. So yeah. He should have stayed in Jotengai for a bit, and just like visited every now and then, instead of the blunt ending of he never set foot in Jotengai ever again. It's like, oh, really? Why? What is the reason? You have friends there, dude. Are you just gonna leave them be? I mean, I get it. You need to move on with your life, but don't throw your past away. Just visit your friends. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be grateful. That's the only thing that kind of got me stickling over this. And overall, the rating for this movie is a 8 out of 10. It's not a 9 out of 10. It's not quite like Miyazaki. The director might have some promise, but he's still a young whippersnapper compared to Hayao Miyazaki, obviously. Now, if you like the video, please leave a like. Until next time, guys, this is Anime Gypsy, and I'm out. See you guys later. Bye.